it there? Yes, I'm Namaskaram everyone.
Namaskaram.
Welcome back to the channel. I have two awesome people. It's Tulsi akka and Sam Anna. So we'll directly get into the video. They are awesome hatha yoga teachers. So something that I've noticed is that Anna, your backstories are not there in your Instagram page much. So I think a lot of viewers want to hear about that. So if you could introduce, we can go long in the video. We don't need to keep it short.
Okay.
So we can go the long format also. Go into the details.
Start from the beginning.
Spicy parts.
In the beginning
Once upon a time, long ago.
So if you could
So it's actually very interesting that you would ask us this on today. Because 11 years ago today, Tulsi and I started dating.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Valentine's Day? Exactly on Valentine's Day.
So it's Valentine's Day and we are meeting with Isha's most eligible bachelor.
I'm on keralamatrimony.com.
So 11 years ago, Tulsi and I were quite different people.
Yeah, very different.
She was just 18, I was just 19. And we met in college in California. I went to a college called Pomona College in California. And there we met.
I was studying dance, theatre, visual art, all the creative things, and he was in the opposite end in all the other buildings that I was
Computer
not
science, linguistics, math, all those things.
Yeah. So we wouldn't have met unless it was through a common friend. So luckily there was a common friend, and we once just ended up by chance meeting in his room. And I didn't make anything. I was like, oh hi, okay, nice to meet you. Continuing on with my life. But we started becoming friends from that time, and I didn't realize how creative Sam was. He was interested in poetry. He wrote amazing poetry. He used to perform his poetry. And he took a lot of interest in my creative pursuits.
Yeah, she brought me very much out of my shell that way, like I was always creative and interested, but still, I was like, had that whole thing of like just being a guy and trying to be cool and all. But then, once we started, I said, okay, yeah, I'll take a dance class, why not,
Yeah, he came and did a dance class. I was like, this guy is so cool. He's just like ready to try different things without feeling all insecure and all how, men can be, people can be. So he came to my dance performances. He would always stay till the end of the show and actually have really meaningful, insightful feedback to give, or things that he noticed, instead of just very good, bye. He would actually say such interesting things that he noticed about the show, and I was like, wow, there's something about this guy, he's so awesome.
Yeah.
And then I started hearing his poetry, and I was like, whoa, this is a whole world for me. I never knew poetry could be performed out loud. And so
neither of us were really looking for a relationship at that
we were
time.
definitely not looking for a relationship at that time.
But suddenly things picked up between us so quickly.
Yeah.
In fact, for both of us, it felt like our mind wanted to do something, but we just kept coming to this person again and again and again.
It was like something beyond us was just pulling us together, and we were just resisting, and then at some point we were like, I'm tired of resisting, this is getting too much.
Like we would just spend hours and hours and hours together. And I had this whole plan, okay? My plan was I was going to leave school for 2 years.
Yeah.
I was going to go to Colombia, and I was interested in learning Spanish. I knew some Spanish, so I was just going to travel around and all this stuff. So I had really this whole plan. I had told my advisors and everything that I was going to go away for
and take a
years.
semester off at least.
And somehow, instead of going to Colombia, I ended up in India.
Just 3 months after we started dating, I brought this random person home to my family, and they were like, who's this guy?
Is it seriously about?
Yeah, just 3 months.
Oh, okay.
And
so obviously, young boy is coming to her house. I mean, her parents were very, very lenient and everything like that, but she stayed with her parents in their room, and they kept me separately in another room, and
they were
must have
what
been
is going
Indian parents, thank you.
No, my parents are really cool.
Which I think was,
they were very loving towards Sam. Even the first day they met him, but still they were like, who is this random guy she's brought? Just We haven't even heard of him, and he suddenly is here
many
for
ways.
1 month.
Yeah.
He came.
1 month.
1 month.
It's different if he's come for a few days and he's traveling on his own, doing his own trip. He came to stay in our house for 1 month. So that was a little crazy.
That was my first real exposure to India.
Yeah.
One thing that is interesting that most people don't know is that my mother's grandfather was from Mumbai.
Oh, is it?
He's an Indian person from
Oh,
Mumbai.
okay.
So Sam is actually 1/8 Indian.
Indian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there.
Little bit of Indian is there.
Yeah.
Chili pepper is there somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere it is there.
In his eyebrows.
Yeah.
I just loved being in India. I loved it. I loved all the food and everything.
Oh, he went mad. It was like he had come home and he had never even been here.
Yeah, that time was before any real yoga interest, but actually in that way, her father was someone who was like properly like 4 a.m. he gets up, he does yoga, kriya, everything like that. So that was the first time I was really seeing something like that. Because for me, yoga means turn on the music, you know what I mean? The tight yoga pants, get in and let's do some movements, and sweat, Like I thought that was my experience. You go to the gym and they have a yoga class. In the US, it's been like that. You have to search for a real spiritual type of yoga. So then for the first time I was learning all these things, about what is it really?
You were just immersed
What
in
does
a
it mean?
culture where yoga was a part of everything in subtle ways and in loud ways also.
And Tulsi had always been exposed to yoga.
Yeah, so in some ways, seeing things from his perspective gave me a new perspective on appreciating things that I'd in some ways taken for granted, because I was like, this was always like this. I never took a moment to think about why it was that way, So when I saw things through Sam's eyes, I was able to look at my own culture, the spiritual aspects of it with a new fresh perspective.
I was just eating everything up. I just
Literally
started
eating
reading
everything.
They kept giving me books. Just reading and reading and reading.
Yeah.
They gave me like this whole Ramayan series.
Oh.
And I was like, it was obviously in English and it was kind of like a novel format, but I just loved it. I just tore through it. And they said, okay. And they gave me full Mahabharat, like the full thing, I just read through the whole thing. Like, you should see these books. Right? They're like this big, okay, each one. Fantastic translation, Ramesh Menon, I don't know. And then more and more and more. So I just became I wasn't practicing any yoga or meditation, nothing like that. I was reading about all of these things, reading and reading and reading, and I just enjoyed the whole reading it as history or something like that. Wondering, could it be true? Could it be like this?
So, Tulsi, you used to do some practices then, or like?
So I had grown up in some ways learning yoga through my family, through my dad. When I was very little, when I was just few years old, he would just move me into different hatha yoga postures. And since I was young, like maybe 10 years old or so, I would go to one yoga school near my house, and my father and I would do yoga there with the teachers there together. And my mother was actually interested in philosophy, so my parents were always interested in meditative practices as well. So they would teach me different meditations, they would teach me ways to use visualization to create things in my life. And so in some ways it was ingrained into me that there's something more beyond the mind, beyond the body. There is some divine forces are at play in our life. And I had few techniques here and there, but I didn't really go fully into it. Obviously, also as a teenager, whatever your parents tell you, you don't want to do that, right? So for me, I was like, no, I don't want to do all this. I want to do dance. So they said, okay, we'll encourage you to do whatever you want to do. And even in dance in India, there's such a spiritual aspect to it. The things that we are dancing, the stories that we are telling through the embodiment as a dancer are stories of spiritual aspects only. Each of the characters in all of the epics are aspects of our own system. And they are the wars that happen, the love stories that happen. They are actually stories of things that happen within us as well. So I didn't realize that what I was doing, even through the dance, through every aspect and art of our culture that I was trying to participate in and learn and perform, I was also doing something spiritual. And it was a yoga in its own right. And so in my own way, I was connecting to this deeper aspect of life. And it wasn't until I went to college and I started seeing how yoga classes were done in the US, and it seemed like a little bit of a joke to me, to be honest. Like, I literally was laughing in one class one time because I was like, what is this? I've never seen anything like this. It was very strange. And it didn't feel like I had to do something about it until I actually got, until I got an injury.
So thank you for watching this part. This video will be in a lot of parts because the video is quite long and we needed the entire story.
You wanted the long story.
We wanted the long story. So before signing off, some few words, Akka.
Just, we hope that our story, our life, whatever we share can serve as an inspiration for all of you to continue going deeper on your spiritual journey.
We're soma.yoga.life on Instagram and coming to YouTube soon. You'll link it below.
Yeah, I'll link it below.
And thank you so much for having us.
And TikTok also, right?
Okay, TikTok also. We're gonna do it. We've been
now
told
you have
to
said
do
it on video. You have to be on TikTok. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe, yes. And like and bell icon also.
Ring the bell.
Yes.
And share with everyone you can so that a drop of spirituality can enter everyone's life.
Thank you. Namaskaram.